What's up everyone, MeJP2 here, and in today's video, we have a triple level 50 team in the Open Ultra League. And this team actually does not do terrible if you actually want to climb. The thing is, it's just a massive Stardust investment, so if you want to build it, it could be pretty successful, but also, just be aware, it's a lot of Stardust. Now on the lead, I have Altaria, and in the back, I have my two ground types. Now the funny thing about Clodsire and Quagsire is that both Clodsire and Quagsire have a different secondary type, so they actually have no common weaknesses despite being both ground types. Now, the thing about my Clodsire is it's a 12-15-15. Now, I do acknowledge that that's pretty bad, but it's the highest rank Clodsire I have. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest, the other Clodsire I have was like a 15, 12, 13, and that one's like rank 30, and then this one's rank 29. So it's extremely close, but this one was the better Clodsire, so I chose to invest in it. If I get a better one, I still have enough Wooper XLs anyways, so if I do get another one, I might even build another Clodsire. It's a terrible idea, but I'm going to probably end up doing it. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's get to the battles. Alright, so leading to the first battle, and I should mention these battles are sped up slightly more than usual, simply because while these are level 50 Pokemon, all of them are fairly bulky, so matchups could take a bit of extra time, so I do end up speeding it up a bit more. Now, we lead Altaria into Poliwrath. This is a pretty bad lead. Like, you're thinking, like, Dragon Flying type into Water Fighting type. Seems like a good lead. But since Poliwrath learns Icy Wind, it's not the best matchup. We can shield one of the Icy Winds and make it to 2 Moonblasts, but they can just take Switch with both shields if they want. Another thing about Clodsire is that in the Ultra League, it's even bulkier, because it's just how it works, and it does have a stat product cap on other Pokemon, but since Clodsire doesn't even hit 2,500 combat power, this thing is at level 50. Now, that Earthquake still doesn't even take out the Poliwrath, but the opponent sends in Drapion. Now, that is really questionable, so they must have something else in the back that's incredibly weak to Clodsire if they're sending in this thing. Now, they then switch into Skuntank, and all I have to do is just make it to a Mud Bomb and shield the move if it comes to it. But I can just throw the Mud Bomb right here, and it should take him out. Opponent sends back in Drapion, but Drapion's just going to get wrecked by this Mud Bomb, and we're able to take that game. We see Toxicroak on the lead in the next battle, and this is a very good lead, because even though they can hit us for neutral with Sludge Bomb still won't do too much overall. The opponent goes for a Shadow Ball. That does more than half. The opponent then switches into an Alolan Muck, and I do switch out into Quagsire because it has a pacing advantage compared to Clodsire, and since this Muck's running Snarl, it hits both of them for neutral anyways. Now, I'm going to go for the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb does a lot of damage, and I'm going straight for another Mud Bomb. This Mud Bomb actually does get a shield, and the thing is, I still don't have to shield in return. Dark Pulse will do some nice damage, but I will be able to make it to another Mud Bomb. They can double shield and farm down if they want, but Toxicroak has nowhere to go anyways, especially when they just give up Switch after fighting for it. And I'm going to go for a Sky Attack. Throwing on alignment here is not the best play, but since I'm going to take him out, the counter doesn't register anyways. But you do want to make sure to throw on good timing, because I do miss a bit of extra energy because of that. The opponent then sends in Golisopod, so wow, it does look like their team was just overall pretty weak to this. I switch into Clodsire, and I'm just going to shield here. I still do not have to shield, but I'm gonna. They actually end up baiting, which is really annoying considering I didn't even need to shield there, but it's fine. I can go for Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will take out the Golisopod, and the Muck just has absolutely nowhere to go. This Muck will be going for the Dark Pulse. It just does nothing. Like Clodsire, like in the Master League, it does have a slightly lower stat product total, but in the Ultra League, where it has a similar stat product total, the thing's just insanely bulky. They can't do anything, and we take the game. In the next battle, we lead Altaria into Steelix. Terrible, terrible lead. So I switch out into Clodsire. The opponent sends in Jellicent, and this game's not looking too good. I go for the Earthquake, and the opponent actually shields it, which is kind of surprising considering Clodsire has virtually zero attack, especially because it's not a super effective move. The opponent goes for a Surf, but I should be able to make it to 2 more Earthquakes, simply because Hex is not going to be doing much of anything. I do make it to another Earthquake, and the opponent might even shield this, because it would do some nice damage. They actually don't, but overall that's fine. I switched into Altaria, And as long as they're not running Ice Beam, we should be fine. They go for the Surf, and so it looks like they're just going for back-to-back Surf. I don't know. But they actually have a Shadow Ball as well. So I definitely miscounted the energy there. They send in Steelix, and I immediately switch out into Quagsire. The opponent's going to go for a move. I should tank anything. They go for a Breaking Swipe, and they do get the attack debuff, which is terrible. Because they then send in Poliwrath, and that Mud Bomb does nothing. My only hope is to take advantage of the slightly misaligned switch timers and get a snipe with Altaria. But even then, Steelix still has a ton of bulk left on it, and the Poliwrath just goes for an Icy Wind. Now, I'm going to have to commit both shields here, because now this will burn the switch clock, so I can send in Altaria, and I will be able to make it to a Sky Attack. Sky Attack will come very close to taking them out. The opponent then sends in Steelix, and we're just going to get a full farm down here. I do get to a Sky Attack, which is nice, but this is not going to do much of anything. I have 2 Mud Bombs, and Quagsire still wins CMP against Steelix, despite having a much lower combat power. They go for a Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe still doesn't take out Quagsire, but they get the Dragon Tail through, and that will take us out. Into the next battle, we lead Altaria into Cresselia. Now, this is not a good lead because Cresselia does learn Moonblast, but if they do have Moonblast, it still won't do too much, but they do get the attack debuff. That makes me switch out into Quagsire, which is not a well-thought-out idea because Cresselia does learn Grass Knot, but I do switch into Quagsire, and the opponent sends in Greninja, which is by no means a hard check to Quagsire, but we should be able to get at least 1 shield with the Mud Bomb, which we already did, and I might even be able to make it to another one. The opponent goes for a move here. If this is a Night Slash, I don't even think it takes us out, but they want to guarantee the KO, so they go for the Hydro Cannon. Now I'm going to throw a Sky Attack here because I do want to get the KO, and the opponent is probably going to send back in the Cresselia, but no, they send in the Ampharos. And I'm going straight for a Moonblast here. A debuff would be nice, but it doesn't really matter too much. I then send in Clodsire, and I do not have to shield anything from this. And Brutal Swing does basically nothing, and I can just go for an Earthquake. Now, all that's left in the back is Cresselia, and Quagsire actually does just hard wall Cresselia's energy, unless they're running Future Sight. Anyways, the Future Sight does a lot of damage, but we're going to be going for an Earthquake. Earthquake will do some nice damage. We might even be able to make it to a Sludge Bomb before they farm us down, but we come so close, but we fail. Now, the thing is, they have no fast move pressure, and they get a second debuff. So the game is really trying to let them win here. They go for another Moonblast. I was like so surprised that they didn't get a third debuff, but Moonblast, even when single debuffed, will take out the Cresselia. We take that game. We see a Greninja on lead in the next battle, and this is nice because we resist Water Shuriken, and we significantly outball Greninja. Well, yeah, Water Shuriken isn't the highest fast move pressure move anyways. Resisting it can't hurt, and they're going to go for a Night Slash, a couple of Night Slashes, and then they switch out into Alolan Muck. Now, this is just going to be completely answered with Clodsire. There is nothing this Muck can do. Dark Pulse does virtually nothing, and I can overfarm by a significant amount. Earthquake will not take him out, but it comes pretty close. Now, even if they go for a move here, it won't take us out. Even a Dark Pulse wouldn't have, but Acid Spray will debuff our defense. It's kind of unfortunate, but Clodsire will be able to leave with a ton of energy, and Sludge Bomb will get a shield, and the Earthquake also gets a shield. The opponent still has to throw here, and they just go straight Hydro. I don't know why they would have done that. Night Slash probably would have taken us out, but I guess I just wanted to be safe. I go for a Sky Attack, taking out the Greninja, and in the back it's Skeledirge, and this game is just completely over. They can go for a move here. Shadow Ball will do a lot of damage, but not enough. Now, Mud Bomb does some nice damage in return, and I even make it to a Stone Edge. Mud Bomb would have done the job here, but Stone Edge will as well, and we take that game. We lead Altaria into Swampert in the next battle. This is an absolutely dominant lead. Altaria just hard walls Swampert, and there's nothing they can do about it. They go for a Hydro, it does virtually nothing, and the spamminess of Swampert still is kind of annoying, but Altaria does, I think, win the Zero Shield, and I think down a shield. Now they go for another Hydro Cannon, doesn't even get us into the yellow, and we actually get a farm down. Us getting a farm down there does depend on how high of a rank the Swampert is. If they're a high-ranked Swampert, they do live enough Dragon Breaths to make it to another Hydro Cannon, but that one was not a well-ranked Swampert, which is why we got the full farm down. The opponent sends in Charizard. They go for a Dragon Claw. It does nearly take out Altaria, and they get the farm down. I send in Quagsire, and they just go straight Blast Burn. Now, I will be going for a Mud Bomb here. Mud Bomb would be pretty close to taking him out, so the opponent actually shields. They then send in Giratina, and this isn't ideal because Ghost will resist a Sludge Bomb, but we still have Earthquake, and Shadow Sneak does nothing. I still don't know why they went for a Shadow Sneak. They must be like running Shadow Sneak and Ancient Power or something, but if they're running Dragon Claw, they should definitely be going for it. They go for another Shadow Sneak, so I wouldn't even be surprised if they're just Shadow Sneak and Ancient Power, but that's a really questionable moveset. Now, I go for another Earthquake. It comes pretty close to taking out the Giratina, and they should be pretty close to Sludge Bomb range. They go for a Dragon Claw, which... why? Why would you be going for Shadow Sneak? Anyways, Sludge Bomb, I do wait a turn to make sure they don't catch. I go for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb nearly takes him out. I send in Quagsire, get one extra Mud Shot, and the opponent's going for a move here. Now, I should be able to go for a Mud Bomb here and grab a shield, but I do think they have enough energy for a Dragon Claw, and they will win CMP, so it depends on whether or not we actually tank this Dragon Claw. Quagsire is bulky, but it does take us out. Now, can Clodsire make it to a Sludge Bomb? Yes, we can, on 1 HP, but the Charizard wins CMP, and we lose that game. We see Charizard in the lead in the next battle, and this opponent's actually running Dragon Breath, which severely worsens the scenario. The opponent switches into Surfetched, and this is actually not the worst, because Quagsire can actually hit for some nice damage with Mud Bomb. Now, they're going to go for a move here. I will be shielding because I have a lot of energy and I don't want to lose it. So this Mud Bomb will be able to do some nice damage. Another Mud Bomb should be threatening the KO, so I wouldn't be surprised if they shielded, but they don't. Now, we're able to take Switch, but the problem is that we're still not in the best situation because Charizard does pretty well into the other two Pokemon, but I should be able to get their shield with this Stone Edge. Stone Edge grabs the shield, and I immediately switch out into Altaria. I don't want to give him any extra energy. And since Altaria is so bulky, Dragon Claw doesn't do too much. They do make it to another one, though, which is really unfortunate, but we might even be able to make it to a Sky Attack. We do make it to the Sky Attack, and this is vital. The Sky Attack will get the Charizard very low. Now, I'm probably just going to be sending in Clodsire to get a farm down. So I do, and the opponent doesn't even make it to a Blast Burn, apparently, because it didn't throw it. I make it to a Sludge Bomb. I do not want to get hit with a Blast Burn. And in the back, it's Typhlosion. Yeah, this game's just over. First, though, we're going to catch the Blast Burn. Blast Burn takes out Quagsire, but we're just able to hit him with an Earthquake. Earthquake will take them out, and we're able to take that game. We see Annihilate on the lead in the next battle, and Annihilate is not the best because it has Ice Punch, but this opponent doesn't even throw on 6. I think they just threw on 5. It's only a Night Slash. Now, they're going to go for another move, and if this is just a Night Slash, Altaria is fine. Now, we're going to be able to make it to a Sky Attack. I overfarm significantly because Counter has very little fast move pressure. The opponent lets it go through, and they send in Walrein. Now, this isn't ideal, because Walrein does do pretty well in my backline, but we actually do get the Moonblast attack debuff. That's really nice, because now we can easily tank these Icicle Spears. The opponent is going to go for an Icicle Spear. Doesn't do too much. They then send in Decidueye, and this isn't the best matchup for Clodsire, especially when I throw an alignment. I was just not doing well with the alignment. Like, it's really hard to judge when to throw when two Pokemon switch in. They go for a Frenzy Plant, which is going to do some nice damage, and I do have to shield now. They do go for another Frenzy Plant, and I should be able to make it to a bunch of Sludge Bombs, though, because I have 2 shields. Now, I am going to be able to make it to a 3rd Sludge Bomb. This Sludge Bomb probably will get shielded, and it does. Now, I do realize I'm going to farm down, so I switch into Quagsire, but the opponent switches into Walrein as well, catching the Stone Edge. That's not ideal, but the opponent should not be able to make it to 2 Frenzy Plants here. So, fortunately, we will be able to make it to a Stone Edge. This Stone Edge will take out the Decidueye, and we're barely able to take that game. Next battle, we lead Altaria into Dragonite. Now, this is not the best, because usually in the Dragonite matchup, I try and catch on the Steelix. The opponent tries to catch on the Poliwrath. Now, Moonblast does a nice amount of damage, and we see another attack debuff. Now, I just send in Quagsire, because they can't really do much. They go for a Scald, they don't even get a debuff, and I can just farm up to like 99 energy, and this Mud Bomb will get the KO. The opponent shields, though, and we lose CMP on the next move. Now, Icy Wind, not going to take us out, and even if they shield this as well, since they're debuffed, we should be able to just get another Mud Bomb. The opponent seems to recognize that, and they send in Guzzlord. I make it to a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb doesn't do much of anything, but it's still nice to get that damage off. It does mean that they should probably be in Earthquake plus Sludge Bomb range, and they don't look like they're going to have an easy way to get rid of this Clodsire. Sludge Bomb does get them into what seems like Earthquake range. The opponent then sends in Dragonite, and they actually go for a superpower for reasons unknown, but they then send in Guzzlord, and they throw. So yeah, this game's just completely over at this point, because Guzzlord still won't farm down Clodsire, and 2 Sludge Bombs, one for the shield, and one for the other one, plus the Mud Shot damage should be able to take him out. I do still try for the Earthquake, but just to be safe, I throw the Sludge Bomb. It takes him out. We take that game. We see Haxorus on the lead, and Haxorus is running Dragon Tail, which is not the best because they hit us for super effective instead of resisted. I no shield the Breaking Swipe because I know I can make it to a Sky Attack, and Sky Attack either gets the shield or switch. They get it. We get the shield, and they get switch, but that's fine. I send it in Quagsire. The opponent's going to go for a move here. Nothing that they have will take us out from this energy, and it's just a Surf. Quagsire tanks that, and the opponent then sends in Zapdos. Now, this is actually a normal Zapdos, so Stone Edge wouldn't get the KO, but that does mean that they're just in farm down range for the Clodsire. Now, I'm fine with committing Shield, because this Stone Edge will do a ton of damage. I missed the Excellent somehow, and the opponent does live it. Now, they're going to go for a move here. I'm fine with this. They're just going to take us out with a Drill Peck, but now they're completely empty from energy, so we're just going to be able to tank a move with Clodsire. We should be able to get a full farm down. Zapdos has 0 fast move pressure. They actually do make it to another Drill Peck. My hope is that whatever I have in the back isn't high fast move pressure. And, well, it is high fast move pressure, but it's something weak to ground, so this game's just fully over. This Earthquake will be taking out the Skeledirge, so we're lucky to have the Skeledirge in the back on the opponent's end. We're able to take the game because of it. We lead Altaria into Hisuian Typhlosion in the next battle. Now, my 2 ground types in the back are better suited for this thing, but Altaria also does pretty well into it. They go for a Shadow Ball. It does a lot of damage. The opponent then sends in Sylveon, and Sylveon's going to get answered with Clodsire. They do have access to Psyshock, which would do some nice damage to Clodsire, but it's not going to have a risk of taking us out, and Charm just has no pressure. Psyshock does not do much, and I do put myself in an awkward position there because I didn't want to overfarm and go over 100 energy, but at the same time, I didn't want to risk throwing on bad timing. The opponent actually shields, and they switch out into a Greninja, but I have a Moonblast. Moonblast will rock the Greninja, and the opponent does make it to a move here, but it's fine. Night Slash takes us out, but I can send in Clodsire, and that's a free Mud Shot because of the fact that the Greninja wasn't able to get a Water Shuriken through. The opponent goes for a Psyshock, but we have 2 Shield Quagsire. It's pretty hard for anyone to win against this thing. That's just a straight-up Razor Leaf user. But Mud Bomb takes him out, and the Typhlosion will get hit with a Stone Edge. Stone Edge will just completely take out the Typhlosion, and we're able to take that game. We see Altaria into Obstagoon in the next game. Now, this is very good because we actually do resist the counters. The opponent switches into Scissor. Now, I am scared of Trailblaze, but it looks like the opponent's not running it. Now, this Mud Bomb will do some okay damage to Scissor. It won't be doing too much. The opponent actually shields. Now, I am going to shield in return because X-Scissor would actually start to add up, and it could put us into farm down range, which could make things be a bit dicey. I go for a Stone Edge, gets the shield. Now, I'm fine with committing my second shield as well, because I do want to keep switch. The opponent then sends in a Giratina, and this Giratina is running Dragon Breath, which is not ideal, but we're going to be able to tank the Dragon Claw and make it to a Moonblast. Moonblast will do some nice damage, and the opponent cannot farm us down, so they have to throw a move. Now, they throw at a time that means that they're in perfect farm down range for either of the Pokemon I have. So I'm going to send in Clodsire, and I will get a full farm down. Now, the opponent is going to wait their switch clock and then send in the Obstagoon. Now, this Earthquake won't do too much as Obstagoon's pretty bulky, but it does look like with the added Mud Shot damage, we should be able to pretty much take him out with the second Earthquake. They go for a Night Slash, and then they switch out into Scissor. Now, I have a Stone Edge banked. Stone Edge just does a lot of damage to the Scissor, and the Obstagoon in the back doesn't have too much that they can do. Unless they're running Hyper Beam, they don't really have anything that can take out Clodsire, and I do make it to a Sludge Bomb. I overfarm, though. I'm just going for the full farm down. The opponent goes for a Gunk Shot, wrong nuke move, and we get the farm down. We take that game. We see another counter user on the lead. We lead into Annihilate. Now, the opponent switches out into Gallisopod, and I'm guessing they didn't realize how bad of a matchup this is for Gallisopod, because I'm fine with staying in. Now, they don't even shield the Sky Attack, which does mean that we're just going to be able to farm them down. They go for a Liquidation, does not do much, we get a farm down. The opponent then sends an Ampharos. I'm going to farm up a ton and catch the move onto Clodsire. If I caught a Thunder Punch, it would be nice, but Brutal Swing still does next to nothing, and they're not farming me down. Now, the opponent is going to go for a move. Trailblaze does some okay damage, boosts their attack, but we're going to be able to make it to an Earthquake. The opponent shields the Earthquake, surprisingly, and now they're going to be going for another move. I still don't have to shield because they revealed all their moves to me, and they're still not going to be able to fast move farm me down, even when they're double boosted. They shield another Earthquake, and I'm just going to go for a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb should be taking them out at this range, and we just keep both shields. The opponent sends in the Annihilate. We snipe with the Moonblast. Moonblast does a ton of damage. The opponent makes it to a move here. They go for a Night Slash. Still doesn't take us out. We get a 2-shield flex and a 3-ball flex, and we're able to take that game. We see Kanto Ninetales on the lead in the next battle, and the opponent then sends in an Alolan Raichu. Now, this does look very good, a bulky ground type into a pretty glassy electric type. The opponent goes for a Psychic. Now I'm going for an Earthquake. The opponent actually does end up shielding it, and now I'm going to shield the next move in case it's a Psychic. Now, the opponent baits with a Wild Charge, which is something I haven't seen in a while, and then they go for another move. I was thinking they couldn't possibly have a Psychic, but they actually did, and it takes me out. I now send in Quagsire, and this should only be enough for a Wild Charge, but I've miscounted a lot already, but it is a Wild Charge. It's resisted, and we farm down. The opponent sends in a Lapras, and now Stone Edge will do some nice damage, and the opponent then sends in the Ninetales, trying to catch the Stone Edge. I just go for a Mud Bomb, though. I'm going to farm up to another move, and I'm going to switch out into Altaria. Now, Altaria tanks any move. They go for an Overheat, does not do much, and we're just going to be able to fully farm them down. Now, I am going to go for a Sky Attack here to get the shield, and I should be able to make it to another move here. They shield, and I'm actually able to make it to a Moonblast. This Moonblast will easily take out the Lapras from this range, and the opponent looks like they force quit the app. Moonblast takes out the Lapras. We take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Altaria into Drapion. Not the worst lead. The opponent then sends in Granbull, and this is just completely hard-walled by Clodsire. Now, Sludge Bomb will do some okay damage, and the opponent is going to be going for a move here. Now, Crunch doesn't do too much. Does get the defense debuff, though, and I'm not going to try and farm him down. Now, I go for a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb does take him out. The opponent then sends in Poliwrath. Now, Poliwrath is not good, especially when Clodsire is pretty close to being down, but we make it to an Earthquake. This Earthquake should get a shield, and it does. Giving Altaria a shield advantage into this thing is fine, but I do send in Quagsire simply because I don't want to take an Icy Wind. Icy Wind from them doesn't do too much to Quagsire, and they're going to go for another move. Icy Wind gets us into the yellow, and I immediately switch out into Altaria just to reset the debuff, and the opponent's going to go for a move. I'm actually fine with shielding here. Icy Wind does nothing because we shield it, and then they switch out into Drapion. Now, I should be able to tank a Crunch here, and they still can't farm down because Poison Sting does virtually nothing, so we're basically fine here. They go for a Sludge Bomb, it still doesn't do much, and I make it to another Moonblast. If this Moonblast gets shielded, then Quagsire can just make it to 2 moves, but it looks like they're just going to throw a move. Crunch does take us out, and they're actually in perfect farm down range because we get the farm down right when they'd make it to a Crunch. We leave with too much energy for this Poliwrath to handle. We're at the back-to-back Mud Bombs. Mud Bomb number 1 gets shielded, and Mud Bomb number 2 will take out this Poliwrath, and we're able to take that game. Overall, this team was actually very solid. Like, I had some pretty high expectations for it, because I've seen how well Altaria can do in the Ultra League, and I've seen how bulky Clodsire is, even in the Master League. So I was thinking in the Ultra League, Clodsire actually does not seem that bad. Altaria, in my opinion, it's very good, simply because it's a bulky Dragon Flying type. Like most of the other Dragon Flying types that you see in the Ultra League, like Dragonite, the occasional Rayquaza and stuff, those are glassy Dragon Flying types. So even if you have a Swampert up against it, Swampert still can actually threaten it, just because Hydro Cannon does a lot of damage to them anyways. Like, Altaria does not care about Hydro Cannons. and the Dragon Breaths do add up. So I do think it actually is a pretty good pick for the Ultra League. Clodsire is it's very bulky, and if you ever want to just wall some Cobalions, I'd recommend Clodsire. And Quagsire, didn't have too high expectations for it. Its typing doesn't do it too many favors. That's why I didn't run it in the Master League ever. But Quagsire was actually pretty good. It's a water ground type that's more similar to Whiscash than it is to Swampert in its bulk, because Quagsire does actually get a lot of bulk in the Ultra League. So I don't think people expect that as much, because when you see water ground, you probably immediately think Swampert in the Ultra League. But Pokemon like Quagsire do have that element of surprise of the Stone Edge, which is very nice. Now, overall, this team, going up against meta wasn't fun, but there was one team that I noticed. It was against X-Boston, and they were running, I believe, Shadow Probopass, Shadow Venusaur, and Shadow Banette, which is just an absolutely insane team. Now, I lost to them, and they made some insane plays in that game, but my screen recording failed, and I was so mad about that. But I just had to move on. But yeah, X-Boston, that was one of the best battles I've ever had, so thank you for the battle trainer. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.